Thanks for tuning in to Old Ass Movie Reviews, where today we review Rudy Ray Moore's Dolomite. Welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott, this is Dave, and today we are going to be talking about Dolomite. Dolomite. Wow.
Dolomite is so nice, you gotta see it twice.
What a movie. What a movie.
I can say that for this movie, it was a movie.
It was. It was.
It had people in it. It had moving pictures.
But were you not entertained?
I was totally entertained by this movie. I likened this movie to Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
This is the Blaxploitation version of Plan 9 from Outer Space. If you've never seen Plan 9 from Outer Space, it's a really bad movie. But it's so bad, you will watch it again and again and again. Dolomite, I found myself watching this again yesterday after watching it the day before.
I can see why.
It was just so, yeah. I mean, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And there's so much wrong with it. You just can't help it.
I think that's what I love about it.
Mm-hmm.
That there's so much wrong with this movie that it shouldn't exist. But it does. And I think this movie came about by his sheer willpower to make a movie. Did you see?
You got to hand it to him. You got to hand it to him. I mean, he made like 3 movies. Yeah. There was this one, the sequel to it, and then I think he did a third one. That, as far as I know, wow. I mean, and they all had Hollywood releases, so you got to hand it to the guy. I mean,
that's what's amazing. Did you watch the Eddie Murphy movie on Netflix?
I have not, but now I have to.
You have to. I
saw the movie, and I was like, now I have to watch that. I just want to see if... And the reason I didn't watch it first is I didn't want it to influence how I felt about this movie, like watching it before I review it. I didn't want that to be the influencer for me to say, it's a good movie, it's a bad movie, it's, oh my God, disaster. And all of those things that I just said are exactly what this movie is.
It is. It is.
It's an absolute train wreck.
It is, but that is actually what happened to me since I did see the Eddie Murphy movie. I think My Name is Dolomite.
Right.
It actually shows, at the end of the movie, they're showing actual scenes from this movie that they recreated, things that they had done, and you see what drove him. And I think by me seeing that, I had a bigger, greater appreciation for what he was doing. Right. Had I not seen that, I would have probably written this off as, what in the hell did I just waste my time on? But it still was an entertaining train wreck. But, oh my God. The Dolomite dancers. I don't have anything else to say. The Dolomite dancers.
There's a point in the movie towards the end when Dolomite's business partner, Queen Bee, is getting ready to introduce Dolomite. But first, the Dolomite dancers. Yeah. When she says that, I about die.
Already done.
But like none of it. I do have to give them props on this one thing. You got to figure the amount of time that these people had to prep, the amount of time that they had to get their costumes ready. They probably had all of 2 days to figure something out, if that. If they had 2 days. Yeah. So I got to hand it to them. They did a really good job for that minimal amount of time and money and effort that they could afford to put into it. But the Dolomite dancers, man. For a guy who was in prison for 2 years and lost everything, he sure got everything back really goddamn quick.
Yeah,
That's what we're gonna say.
While he was gone, his girls went to karate school. You can take every stereotype. You're going to find it in Dolomite as far as the 70s Blaxploitation movies. It's like, you got your kung fu. You've got...
They did have the kung fu.
Oh, my God.
And Rudy Ray Moore as a kung fu artist, he is not.
No, not at all. And here's where I have a lot of respect for him and admiration, I guess is a better word, is he's not the best looking guy.
No.
He's not in great shape. He can't act. But he wanted to make a movie. Mm-hmm. And he was going to be the star of that movie. And it was going to have what he wanted in it.
Yep.
And he did it. And that's a lot more than a lot of people can say. He had a vision. He saw it through. He made it happen. And for that alone, you have to watch this movie. It's like, wow, mad respect for it.
Which is, I think, where part of my praise on one hand and my chuckle is on the other, is that it is the Plan 9 from Outer Space version of a Blaxploitation movie. Mm-hmm. It is a guy who just looked around and went, well, I'm obviously not going to get the role I want to do if I wait, and if I just go out and try and get it, nobody's going to hire me. So, hey, buddies, let's all get together. Come on, follow me. We're going to go make a movie. And all his friends, they had to have been his close friends, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
All went,
they were.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Rudy wants to make a movie. Let's go. Who's in it? Well, we are.
They were. And according to the Eddie Murphy movie, it was film students who and young kids who basically shot the film. And did all of that. Yeah, so it was.
That's interesting.
He threw it all together and got the people who wanted to make a movie. And he had all the pieces for the most part.
Did he really have all the pieces?
He had them. They don't always fit together like the story, a cohesive story.
The plot.
The plot.
Story, script.
Yeah.
Actors. Other than that, he had yes, it's perfect. Everything went well.
Here's the thing. I could follow it from beginning to end. It flowed. Yeah. It kills me because this is a movie I shouldn't praise. Meaning, I rate this movie higher than it deserves to be just because on an emotional level and a filmmaker myself, I am just blown away that this guy did this. And it's like, it feels good. And it's like, you look at this and nobody out there has an excuse to not make a movie.
Well, not just a movie, but anything.
Exactly.
In this country, you can literally do anything.
Yeah.
And make a living at it. You just have to figure out what it is and then go do it.
Exactly.
This guy can do it. That's a prime example. If this guy can go out and actually make a living doing that, then you can do your movies.
Yes.
I can follow you into movies because I'm not going to grab a camera by myself, but I will follow your ass into the woods and be Skeeter all day long.
Exactly. So and I guess that's what it was inspirational for me to watch the movie. And but to go to it, the story was horrible, and it was
the acting.
There was none.
The acting. I think the best actor was Shy, the girl who played Shy.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Chicago. She was probably the best one in the movie that I can honestly.
That and possibly. The federal agent.
The Preacher was pretty good. I like The Preacher.
The Preacher, yeah, he was good.
Yeah, but
who was running guns?
All in all, you're like, not one of you people can act.
Yeah.
But you're doing it. You're out there and you're playing. You're playing with each other, having a good time, and the good time comes through. I mean, on that camera. Does. I mean, even with the villains and the bad guys. I mean,
the mayor
time they were having when they were putting it together.
Yeah, look at the mayor.
Where the hell did he come from? That was an afterthought.
It was.
A different villain. It's like, well, wait a minute. You have the main villain.
No, let's make another villain.
The little Ray guy or whatever the hell his name was. It's like you have your villain. He's the guy that you're fighting.
Willie Green.
There's a worse villain. Yeah. This guy over here. Wait, where did he come from? He wasn't even mentioned for the first 75 minutes of this damn movie.
Out of nowhere, this fat, short little guy who he's ordering hits on the phone. It's
on an unsecure line from his home with two hookers in the next room.
Right.
And one that wants to kill him.
And his wife asleep in the bed.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah, that was an afterthought, and it's little bits like that's was comical and funny because you're looking at the lines. It's like, who wrote this?
Right,
it's just it doesn't work.
And the preacher starts out like, I'm thinking this preacher's going to have a major like turning point. Like he's going to either turn on Dolomite or he's going to help Dolomite. And he does neither. He shows up, does one or two little bits where that looks like he's building up, and then you just don't see him again. And you're like, well, what happened to the preacher? He was building up to start a revolution. Where the hell did he
go? One of my favorite scenes is when he gets out of jail. And all the Dolomite. So he gets all dressed up and looking good, gets in the car, and then they all taking it off again.
Yeah, then all the girls start trying to strip him down and have sex in the car. It's like, how many minutes were we into this movie before you saw the breast?
Less than 5? Maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. There you go. I rest my case. All Blaxploitation movies of the 70s. Well, most movies of this, not just genre, but of that action era, going to go to the drive-in. Within 5 or 6 minutes, they had somebody's breasts out. And it's like, there's really a point to that.
No.
How is that pushing the plot forward?
It doesn't, and you could argue all the way up into mid to late 80s. That was a tactic. Almost every single movie did it. So it's really not just a staple of the Blaxploitation. It's a product of the time.
Even Highlander. The first Highlander movie did it. The second Highlander movie did it. I think the third one did it. It's like that guy that played him must have been in the script. I get to see my co-star's breasts. Okay, it's in his contract. We got to give it to him.
Yeah. And I guess Rudy wanted naked women in his movie, and he got them.
And he got it. Like, which one of you girls would like to be naked? I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
But it's funny because there's another scene later on in the cat house where one girl is accusing another girl of stealing, and you think something's going to happen. Like, they're building this girl up to be like a double crosser or something. And again, Lady B, or whatever her name was, Queen B, steps up and says, give me the money, and gives the money. Give me more. Okay, got all the money back for the girl who had it stolen from her, and then just kicks her out of the house. And you're waiting for this girl to come back, like, to go work for the bad guy.
Yeah.
And she never shows back up. It's like, well, wait a minute. You just set this whole character up to be like a double crosser, or you think she's a double crosser and she winds up helping you out and nothing. It's like, man, you guys left a lot of stuff hanging here, man.
There was a lot left hanging. There was a lot. There was technical.
The love scenes, when they had the love scene, none of them were cut well.
No, it was harsh.
Wait a minute, what just
You could tell the film just cut because they weren't even in the same position when it was like a jump, and it was like, what'd you cut out?
Yeah,
what did I miss?
It's like when Queen Bee is talking to him, saying that she's got all the girls trained in karate, and then one guy is going to try and screw the girl out of her money, and she's like, "Well, don't worry, he got his rear end kicked."
Oh, God.
You're waiting for this girl to just whip the shit out of this guy, and then it cuts, and he's just up against the wall. And I think the girl's just got her thumb in his throat.
And
it's
she
like,
just...
What happened? What did she do to this guy?
She pushes him out the door, and you hear him holler or something. It's like...
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. They were really trained. So
all nerves. Okay.
Well, Dolomite, he goes to the karate school. He sees the girls. Queen Bee takes him there. And and he gives this speech. Everybody gather around. Based on what I've seen, we can take back the club. So, okay, I'm thinking there's going to be a big fight coming.
Right.
Nothing. I mean, there's a shootout, but there's no big karate martial arts fest.
Well, there was a little bit of a fight scene, but none of the girls were involved.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There was
the fry cook in the kitchen and one of the bus boys, who were, by the way, the best karate guys in the entire movie. So I'm guessing they were either dancers or took some type of instruction at one point. Because they were the only guys that were actually throwing a kick that you could go, okay, if that connects,
that looked real.
That's somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
And what happened? Queen Bee, towards the end of the movie. Now, I'm just going to spoil this movie for everybody.
Just go ahead.
When everybody's shooting and the guns are going off, Queen Bee is between Rudy Ray Moore, who is Dolomite, and what's that? William, the bad guy. What's the bad guy's name?
Shit, Willie Green.
Willie Green, something like that. And
Can't even remember.
And at one point, everybody's running, and you see Queen Bee go, and fall down, but they never mention it. Like, she's not in the hospital. Nobody even mentions that she got shot. And I'm wondering did they just decide not to have her get shot? They were like, let's wrap it up. It was too much. Well, we ain't got enough film.
well, speaking of the fights, the big showdown which wasn't even the final fight, but with Willie Green and Dolomite.
Yeah.
Where he rips his guts out. And then he's just like, looks at his hand, and he just wipes. And then, I've been shot too.
He's like, Not only has he been shot, but he's been shot in the lung.
Yeah.
And he's like, we need to take you to the doctor, Dolomite. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Is there a back door? Well, dude, it's your club. If anybody knows where the back door is, it should be you.
It's hard because I don't like being overly critical on something that people obviously tried. It's bad.
Right?
It's bad.
But again, it is one of those movies that is so bad. It comes back from being just a bad movie that I would have walked out of the theater at, which is really difficult because I was watching it in my living room and I would have walked out in my front yard in 110-degree weather.
Right.
To becoming a good, fun movie to watch again, which is why I watched it the other day. I was just like, they couldn't have used the MFer word that many times. They sure did. The N word, I stopped counting after about 30.
I wasn't even counting. I
tried to count the second time around. I just stopped counting. I was like, I lived in bad neighborhoods. I hung out, I worked with guys in Detroit that didn't use the N word and the MF nearly as much as these guys. Yeah. I use the MFer a lot. And I never used it as much as this guy.
You know what? It worked.
It did.
It was as gratuitous as breast. It really was. It
really was. The overuse of it, I think, is what took away.
It did. It really.
A lot of its power.
And there was something about Dolomite that I cannot figure out. Is why was he even
really? Just one thing?
No, there's multiple, but this is one that. Why was he so popular in the first place? I mean, people stopped him on the street. I bet my last $5 this is Dolomite. Prove it. And he'd come up with these freaking stories that I'm at a loss.
I was wondering that too. And the only thing I can figure is if that was part of Rudy Ray Moore's stand-up routine.
It is. It absolutely is.
And he just went ahead and was like, well, we got time to kill. I'm going to show, if I don't sell this movie or if the movie sells, somebody will want to go buy my album. So this is a bit that I do on the album. And that's why he did like the two things, like the one about the lion and the monkey.
That's his album.
The one about the Titanic whenever he stopped in the street. And I'm following this, like I'm listening to the story and I'm like, that's just not funny.
I know.
Maybe it's just me, but I'm like, that's just not funny.
they explore that a lot in the Eddie Murphy movie about
really?
how that came about. But that is part of his stand-up act. And people bought albums with that. They thought it was the greatest thing. Fine, I don't get it. I was at a loss for it. And it's like, okay, but that's exactly what he did. He put his stand-up in there. Even aside from that, it was like, who are you? You know, they started a little bit of that in the beginning with the warden saying, well, it's obviously you weren't guilty because we lock you up and crime in your neighborhood is still good. Why does the warden care?
Yeah, and how is the warden involved?
Exactly.
How is the and why is Queen Bee crying? Oh, Dolomite, I'm so happy.
And then I'm happy, Dolomite.
Yeah, she's got the rag in her hand. She says, "Oh, Dolomite, I'm so happy." And she's crying, and then they do a cut, and she's not crying anymore. She doesn't even have the towel in her hand anymore. It's like, could you guys have gotten like the best college editor instead of the college editor that you got?
There also comes a point when you just can't fix it.
How did you like the walls in the warden's office? The crepe paper?
Oh, yeah.
The crepe paper walls? Because I was looking at that and I'm like, if one of these guys sneezes or farts, that wall's coming down. That wall is coming down.
Yeah. They, and again, it just goes back. They did what they could with what they had.
They tried. And again, like Scott's saying for the two people that are listening, two whole people. Two whole people. It does show that if you've got the heart, man, you can do it. And this guy did it. I mean, I know I'm tearing this movie apart.
Oh God, it deserves to be torn apart.
But he went out and did something that so many other actors and people who want to be actors have never done.
They talk about it.
Yeah, do a lot of talking, but never do it.
Yeah.
And that's just with anything. That's like with art. That's with the music industry. I mean, people who sit there and do a lot of criticizing, it's very easy. It's easy for me to sit here and criticize this movie.
Yeah.
It's difficult to grab the camera and go out and do it.
Exactly.
That's the heart. That's the heart. It's easy for me to criticize art. It's more difficult for me to come in and actually sit down in front of a board or in front of paper and do it. Mm-hmm. Or for you to sit down and write. I mean, you could criticize a movie script all day long, but it's really difficult, man, when you sit down and you start putting your heart and soul into it. And that's it. And the difference is I can find the love in most of the movies we've watched, except Devil Express. There's a lot of love in that movie. That's just a bad movie.
Yeah, I put that there with Eat My Dust.
Stuck in my head. Yeah, but that's, Ouch. Ron Howard. Business savvy he is, because that's how he got to make his movies. But it's easy for us to sit here and complain and laugh about it. But I sit there and I also try to find the heart in everything this guy did.
Yeah. And
Rudy Ray Moore, he must have had a lot of heart because, like I said, I think he did 3 movies at least that I'm aware of.
Right.
He did Dolomite and then Dolomite's Return or something like that.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But I saw when I was looking for this one, I saw there were a couple. Yeah,
he did quite a few. So you have to look at that guy and go, man, I gotta admire that.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I admire somebody who works their rear end off and gets a product done and out and sold. And he did all of it. He sold that product. And it sold well. Because if not, we probably wouldn't have been talking about it this many years later. You know?
People would.
There's something solid about that movie that sticks. It's the heart. I think it's the heart that comes through.
I think you're right. I think that's the only reason it's relevant is the heart. Yeah. It's obvious that he wanted to make a movie and that put everything into it to make it happen. And that was we're still talking about it however many years later. That it's like, wow, you're right. It's easy to shit all over some of these movies, but when you see the heart come through, it's like, okay, you know what? I'm with you, Rudy. It's got problems.
Like I'm going to watch the rest of your movies too, just because.
Yeah.
of the heart, the feeling that you know he was trying.
I'm going to give my take on this movie. If you're a fan of 70s blaxploitation, action movies, boobs everywhere, Dolomite is your movie.
Right.
If you don't care about story, Dolomite is your movie. It's Dolomite. That's all I have to say.
That's it. That's all you can really say.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with Scott on if you like bad movies, if you like the what was it, Plan 9 from Outer Space type movies, if you like just anything from the 60s that was a sci-fi bad, late night horror movie from the 60s or mid 50s, if you like blaxploitation movies that aren't the best movie in the world, Dolomite is your movie. Dolomite was entertaining. It was bad. It wasn't well acted. But I think if you watch it once, you'll sit there and go, oh my God, what was this? I have to rewatch it. Yeah. And you'll rewatch it again and you'll be like, oh, this is fun. This is a fun movie. Don't expect anything from it other than entertaining.
Yeah, it's
really.
It's definitely on a must see list.
Yeah.
It is the best worst movie I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
It's
perfect. Best worst movie.
Yeah, it's bad. But it passes the bad and rolls right back into good. And it's like,
right.
As David said, the heart shines through in this movie, and you can't help but say, man, wow. Good job.
Good for you, Rudy. Right?
Go Rudy.
Yeah, that's and everybody that had anything to do with that movie. And now I'm going to have to watch the Eddie Murphy movie.
You absolutely should.
To see how close my review of this movie really hits home.
Yeah, it was enlightening to watch. I don't know how much was made up or actual,
right.
But it did give an insight into going in to watch this movie and seeing how Rudy came about and how he started and what his vision was, and it helped give me it helped me watch the movie with a more open mind and not shut it off, because it is that bad. But man, it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun. I can see that at a drive-in, since obviously drive-ins are probably going to be coming back.
I think I may have seen that at a drive-in.
Yes.
But that's how old I am, everybody. I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
But the fun thing about what Scott and I are doing right now is we're not taking modern movies. We're not taking stuff that everybody's watching now on this. And I'm hoping, even though we're doing all the spoilers, I'm hoping everybody's along for our ride, because I'm having a good time doing these. It's fun. I like to do the older movies, and hopefully we'll do good movies and bad movies and mix everything.
We do have to mix it up. We've had some really great ones that have popped in, some classics, some surprises, and boy, have we had some stinkers.
Yeah, a couple that we thought were going to be really good turned out to be really bad.
Yeah, so exactly.
Like Eat My Dust. I honestly thought that was going to be an okay movie. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be great, but I thought, okay, they're going to be good.
It's better than Gone in 60 Seconds. Of course, almost anything that we watched, honestly, has been better than Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, the editing in that one, too. I think we talk about that in that review.
Yeah. But anyway.
What are you going to do?
So next week will be Seven Samurai, Akira Kurosawa.
There you go. See? We go from Dolomite to Seven Samurai.
I look forward to it.
That's how we roll.
Yeah. And until next time, peace.
And until next time, that's Scott. I'm Dave. Cheers.